Welcome to another episode of Port Charles Chat. I'm Mom.
And I'm Brandon.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
All right, today we're going to talk about the week of August the 18th through the 22nd. And just so that everyone knows, the day of recording is on August the 24th of 2025. Brandon, are you ready to talk about General Hospital?
Well, we're going to speak about it in the same week. I'm ready.
All righty. Yep, but that is true. We watched it this week. We watched everything yesterday. And so now we're getting ready to tape. So anyway, so let's talk a little bit about Maxie. This actually was, to me, a very good week at General Hospital. It had some excitement. And so Maxie to begin with. Maxie and Lucy both go on TV, or they have an infomercial in regards to their latest products. And Maxley actually smells one of the lotions, and then she begins to put some on her face, and then she passes out. It appears as though Maxie has had a heart attack. For those people who have not seen before, Maxie had a heart transplant when she was 6 or 7 years old. And so, Maxie's heart, of course, very important for everyone, but especially for Maxie since she had a heart transplant. So anyway, Maxie does go to the hospital. They have to perform. They have to perform CPR. And they do bring her back. However, Maxie is still in the coma. Everyone is very, very concerned about her. Her mother's there along with Lulu and Brooklyn, and her, of course, Spinelli's there. And so everyone is really concerned about how Maxie is doing. Brandon, were you surprised for this storyline?
Yeah, I definitely was. I mean, I first watched a portion of this week on Tuesday as it was happening, like midway through the episode, and I was like, oh, yeah, I definitely missed something. But I mean, yeah, it definitely was a big storyline, and I think one of the overarching ones for this week.
Yeah, it really was. Your brother even texted me and said, "I think you need to watch General Hospital when you get home." So yes, it was a very important storyline that did occur. And then we have Drew, who's still out there just causing trouble everywhere. Anyway, so Drew attempts to have Michael arrested. Within the last couple days, Michael has hit or punched Drew and hit him on the face. It happened in the Metro Court, and there were, in theory, a lot of witnesses. However, when Drew went to go see Sonny and planned to blackmail him, but Drew does not know that the ADA attorney is actually there also and overhears the whole conversation, and so the ADA is very shocked to hear that Drew is actually blackmailing Sonny, and so she doesn't want to stand for this either. However, she's in an interesting situation because she can't tell anyone that she was actually in Sonny's apartment, and Drew doesn't have any idea that the ADA was there. So Drew does try later to press charges against Michael. In the process of finding out that while he was trying to kind of press the charges and get the witness statements from other people, Chase was the police officer who was actually helping with finding out what the people thought or what they saw. And he found out that no one witnessed anything. No one admitted to seeing Drew hit. No one admitted to seeing Michael hit Drew. Even his lawyer, who was there at the time, said he didn't see anything either. So at this point in time, no charges can be charged against Michael. All right, Brandon, what were your thoughts about the storyline?
Oh, I mean, I definitely had a laugh. I mean, I was saying at the end of last week that, like, really, why did Mike go up to hit him? It's going to be this whole thing. But no, um, no witnesses, nothing. But that's not going to stop Drew from trying to be hero to Willow.
Yeah, he's trying to still help Willow out. And then Martin, on the other hand, he is not happy with Drew at all because he has realized that that investigators are now speaking to Stella in regards to his insurance. And so he is not happy with that. And he does go and apologizes to Stella later because he doesn't realize that he's the one who he indirectly started it, although Drew is the one who called the investigators. Alrighty. And then we have Molly, who has feelings for Cody, and she's having these really weird dreams about Cody in the, I don't know what hundreds, 1800s maybe. And so what was interesting for me is that she was trying to create a vision included the name Clint Buchanan. Now, for those people who watched One Life to Live, you know exactly who Clint Buchanan is. I had to explain to Brandon who Clint Buchanan is, but that was interesting to watch her little fantasy about that. Um, in the midst of all of that, Cody is now kind of has a little moment with Ava a little later. Um, and now let's go back now to Britt. Britt is still in Croatia, and Joss and Vaughn are still there. Someone comes up to Vaughn and tries to kill him. Joss does kill the gentleman who did try to kill Vaughn. And in the midst of all that, Joss has she has some feelings about what she's done and begins to feel bad about it. And then she and Vaughn have some private time together. And then the next thing you know, Joss now wants to go and speak to Britt because she wants to know exactly what's going on. Brenna doesn't have any idea this has happened, and Vaughn is saying that they only have about 24 hours in order to finish up what they're doing there in order to kind of catch Brennan up. So, I mean, and at the end on Friday, we see that Vaughn has disappeared, I guess, and Joss is there with a gentleman who is holding a gun on her. Now, on the other hand, we have Jason who's there also. Jason and Britt do speak together. Britt is kind of really miffed at Jason. Even though she is happy to see him, she's really miffed at him. They're both kind of nicely accuse each other of faking deaths. And so, but Jason explains how he is alive, but Britt does not explain how she is alive. And so Jason goes and meets this other woman while he's there. And and so we just see them having a conversation. And then the next thing we know, Britt is now knocking on Jason's door, and that's how it ended on Friday. Brandon, what are your thoughts about this Croatia storyline with Britt and Jocelyn and Vaughn and Jason?
Okay, this whole thing has intrigued to me this week specifically, and I don't know what's more intriguing: Jocelyn and her part, or Jason and his extremely elaborate cover story.
Yeah, extremely elaborate, and Jason's like in suits, which is so unlike Jason. So
And more than
that's
one.
kind of yeah, and more than one suit. So yeah, so this is kind of intriguing. So I'm kind of wondering where they're leading with this particular storyline. And then also, just to go back to a minute for Maxie, we do find out that Maxie does have some sort of strange enzyme in her system, and the doctors are trying to figure this part out. And then Liz actually nicely threatens Christina. Um, Christina does not want to have anything to do with Willow, and she says that she told Willow that she lied to her, and that she was just trying to protect her family, and that she didn't want, and she's not going to go against her brother. Liz has some words with Christina, and she makes a mention that how she should help Willow. And I think she means it in a nice way, but at the same time, she knows she does. We know that she is nicely blackmailing Christina at the same time. All right, Brandon. I think that that is all that I have. What do you have, and what did I miss?
Yeah, there's something that just occurred to me, but I can't fully remember what it is, but it's something real. Oh yeah, Christina definitely had a bit of flashbacks and her whole retrospective of her horrible life decisions of recently. But yeah, I'm sure whatever it was will occur to me later. But that's all that I remember for the time being.
All righty. Now, let's talk to the performer of the week. I struggled with this one quite a bit. And for me, overall, the performer of the week was Martin. And I just liked the way he kind of turned himself around. And so Martin, for me, gets the big performer of the week. Now, I will have to give credit for Lulu and Felicia. Both of them did a remarkable job. Felicia, especially because I remember the storyline that Maxie had when she had the heart transplant. Felicia did a wonderful job back then, and so she's doing another great job now. And Lulu is coming to terms with Brooklyn and also with Liesel also, and I like that she's made amends with both of them. So Martin, Lulu, and Felicia are my performers of the week. What about you, Brandon?
Yes, Making Amends was that storyline I couldn't remember just a moment ago, and I fully agree with your performer of the week, but your performers of the week. But we'll have to say everyone did a really good job this week.
Yeah, they did. It's been a very nice week on General Hospital. All right, as for amusing scenes of the week, Martin and Drew at the police station made me laugh out loud. And they made me laugh because just knowing that no one witnessed this altercation that took place, I mean, that was just funny in itself. And watching the look on Sonny's face and Michael's and Diane's, and then the look on Drew's face when he realizes that no one's willing to admit that they saw Michael hit Drew. And then when Drew tried to blackmail is the only word I can think of, but tried to blackmail Martin into signing the disposition saying that he witnessed everything. And then Martin refused. That made me giggle too. So there is nothing that Drew can do because there are no witnesses. All right. The second thing that I got a kick out of was Nina falling in the pool. Carly and Nina had a little tiff, and Nina kind of just tipped on over. And so, anyway, she fell into the pool. And then I also got a kick out of Molly speaking to Michael. Molly had a scene where she was speaking to Michael in regards to Cody and how she thinks she likes him a little bit, and Michael is just baffled with her, but he humors her, and so I got a kick out of that scene also. All right, Brandon, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely those were amusing scenes, and attempting to, to pick some different ones. Like I said, as funny as those ones are, and we did see some Molly flashbacks this week. I love Jason's cover story about being a contractor for ELQ.
Yeah, yeah. Jason, can you see Jason working at EOQ? Although with those outfits he had on this week, it looked like he did.
Yeah, and Brit's just perplexed. It's like, is he serious? Is he not? I mean, he has a new name, but I mean, could be.
Yes. Yeah. Did you have any other amusing scenes of the week?
Oh, I would say that there were probably quite a few, but one of the ones I'm going to have to say is the fact that Carly decided to use Jack Brennan, the WSB station chief, as her plumber.
Oh yes, always. He is always the plumber. Yes. Alrighty. And then for touching scenes of the week, we any scene that involved Maxie was touching this week. I thought that was important to note. Brooklyn and Lulu had a very nice scene together where they are kind of forgiving each other. And Lulu was the first one to speak about it. So I like that they had that nice scene together. And then Tracy and Brooklyn also had a nice scene together, also in which they referred to Maxie, but in essence, they were Tracy was referring to Lulu and Brooklyn and how they needed to kind of fix their relationship. So those are the three big touching scenes for me. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. And even Liesel and Lulu, I thought, had a really good one.
Yep, they sure did. They sure did. And then as for fast forward scenes of the week, it was Curtis and Portia at the beginning of the week. They were my fast forward scene. Even though Curtis was needed later, them together, they I don't know. So that was me for fast forwarding. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, definitely them. Like, I mean, together at the very beginning. Um, I know that's where they supposedly ended off last week. I wouldn't know because we got the news interrupting us, but nevertheless, I think that's where they left off. So I mean, it makes sense and the whole jealous of Jordan thing. But I like that they at least came together, like, and had some sort of united front at GH in that episode, which I like.
Yep, the same here. And then the scenes that kind of move forward, who I think are there just to move the storyline forward, it has to be Jason and Britt again. because they had that conversation. So hopefully this is moving forward for them. So that was for me the one scene that they had this week that was trying to move the storyline forward. All right, Brandon, what about you?
I'm going to say, I mean, that definitely that one, but something that intrigued me is actually the whole Ava and Cody thing, uh, and that Ava admitting that the whole reason she's with Rick is to get back at Alexis and the Davis girls for always being so perky and just annoying them by being with Rick. But what I thought interesting was that she said that the person she's really trying to get after is Molly.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure what that's about, unless she just knows that Molly is who Cody likes and vice versa. So that would be Ava trying to play upon that. But and then I had Goofy storyline of the week for me, and I know this is a new one for us, but is Molly and Cody with, but when she had her dream sequence with the Clint Buchanan, that to me was just a goofy scene, but I guess it brought some lightness to a heavy episode, but at the same time, it was just a goofy scene that kind of came out of nowhere. So that to me was the goofy scene of the week. Did you have any goofy scenes?
Ooh, I mean, it'd probably be that one. I think that would be the best one for that category.
All right. I didn't have any welcome backs this week. Did you have any welcome backs?
Did I have any welcome backs? Well, the regular Molly is back after having temporary Molly last week.
Oh, you're talking about Maxie?
I mean, Maxie.
Actually, yes, yes. It's always nice to see the regular Maxie in the scenes for herself. So yes, so I'm glad to have the original Molly. I'm saying now I'm doing it for you, Brandon. Now I was glad to have the original Maxie back. As for next week, I look forward to once more the Croatia storyline with Britt and whatever else is going on there. Um, I'm looking forward to whatever they're doing with Drew. Hopefully, they're leading us somewhere with this Drew storyline. And then at the very end of the episode on Friday, we oops, sorry. At the very end of the episode on Friday, I think there's a fly in here, guys. At the very end of the episode on Friday, we had Rick go to Alexis's house, and Christina was there. So I'd like to see what they're going to talk about. And see, Brandon, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
So there's one thing that just occurred to me, but I did have another note before that.
Okay.
So I guess as the three things I'll say before we end out, one of them is that in Friday's episode, the next to last person, Brit, is finally in the theme song.
Yes, I noticed that. No Lulu, but Brit is in the theme song.
Yeah, I would think that with her now being in the theme song, which I think it's an old picture. I'm surprised they didn't give her the last person, but she got next to last.
Yeah, yeah, I was surprised too.
Yeah, and then in terms of Tracy, like, I mean, I know that we now get a whole bunch of sentimental scenes with Tracy here and there, and her being the voice of reason. But I think seeing Tracy like this, we see it so rarely, but I think it brings so much um, to the show.
It does.
Yeah. So the first thing is with Nina warning Rick about the involvement of Drew. I thought that was kind of interesting that Nina did not mention that she was speaking with Drew, other than to keep them away. And now Liz is seeing that Willow is desperately calling back up Drew. So I'm curious as to see the whole Willow and Drew dynamic, because now it seems that despite the fact that Will cannot trust Drew, that she might reluctantly work with him for the sake of getting back the kids.
Yeah, well, there is no one else except for Elizabeth who is actually speaking to Willow. And so yeah, I think she's down to Drew that way. So it'll be interesting to see I just kind of want to see how they kind of wrap this all together, because Drew is very evilish right now, and so we know what happens to evil characters on soap operas. So it'll be interesting to see how this ends.
As long as it's not by Sunny.
Yep, as long as it's not by Sunny, that is true, or any of Sunny's people or relatives, or Christina.
Yeah. I would like to see, I mean, for once, the PCPD actually managed to do something and outmaneuver him, like catch him, like And yeah, sort of like we got a little bit of it with ADA Turner listening in on that conversation. So I would
Mhm.
love to see, because even Sidwell and Marco were speaking that like Drew doesn't fit into their plan anymore.
Yeah, they're against Drew also. So, because they said he's a wild card at this point.
So yeah, I definitely love to see a sort of plot twist with that. Like maybe Britt and Professor Dalton, wherever he disappeared to, can be working against Drew.
Yeah, that's true. We could have Professor Dalton do it. All right, guys, we thank you for watching this week,
Yeah, we definitely do.
and we'll see you next time. Have a great day, everybody.
We'll see you then.